When the US president casually hints he might rescue a hip hop mogul staring down a possible life sentence, even the seasoned courthouse reporters stop scribbling. That's exactly what happened when Donald Trump, fresh off pardoning reality TV felons, told Fox News he'd certainly look at the facts if Sean Diddy Combs ever asked for mercy. In one breath, the Bad Boy founder's trafficking trial collided with raw presidential power, turning a courtroom drama into a high-stakes game of clemency. So, how did two men once photographed clinking champagne flutes end up on opposite sides of a legal tightrope that now stretches from Manhattan's federal bench to the White House lawn? Stay with me, because this story races from velvet-roped parties to razor-wired detention cells, and it ends with a question no one saw coming. Federal agents made their move on a humid September morning in 2024, bursting into a Manhattan hotel suite where Sean Diddy Combs thought he still controlled the narrative. Minutes later, an unsealed indictment painted a far darker picture. Prosecutors claim Combs orchestrated a years-long web of coercion that funneled young women, sometimes even industry hopefuls, into glittering parties that doubled as private prisons. Witnesses describe an empire of manipulation, hush money, and late-night freak-off rituals, all packaged behind the Bad Boy logo. Inside the courtroom, the government calls this the Combs Enterprise. Defense lawyers call it character assassination. Either way, the stakes are brutal. Conviction on the most serious counts could convert mansion gates into prison bars for 15 years to life, erasing a billion-dollar legacy with the clang of a cell door. Yet from the very first gavel strike, Combs has pleaded not guilty. Chin high, jaw set, insisting the empire he built was about music and hustle, not exploitation. Day after day, jurors now hear testimony that slices through that glossy image. An ex-girlfriend describing threats that shadowed her every step. A former assistant recalling the night she was warned she'd end up in the East River if she failed a lie detector test. A forensic analyst mapping luxury jet flight logs against nights when private gatherings allegedly spiraled out of control. Each story lands like another beat in a song Combs never meant to release. But courtroom drama is only half the symphony, because the moment those charges hit the headlines, an old acquaintance in a red tie started watching just as closely. The courtroom lights hadn't even cooled when another spotlight swung to Donald Trump. Cornered by a Fox News reporter in a Manhattan hallway, the president paused just long enough for every camera to lock focus. Asked whether he'd pardon Diddy, Trump shrugged, then dangled possibility. He hadn't spoken to Combs in years, he said, but if the facts showed somebody was mistreated, he'd consider stepping in. No endorsement, no refusal, just a door left half open and a quote tailored for headlines. Instantly, the internet lit up. Pundits dissected each syllable. Fans wondered whether Trump was floating a trial balloon or simply flexing his relevance. He reminded viewers that Diddy used to really like me a lot before politics iced their friendship, hinting that no personal grudge would sway him.
I haven't seen him, I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, that relationship busted up.
Yet to many observers, the subtext was louder than the soundbite. Clemency would mean aligning with an industry titan now accused of trafficking, a gamble even reality TV presidents rarely take. Within hours, Trump's words ricocheted through social media feeds, campaign group chats, and late-night panels. Some MAGA loyalists cheered the toughness of looking at the facts. Others recoiled at the optics of defending a man whose trial testimony grows darker by the day. But one listener in particular, 50 Cent, heard an opening to reignite a long simmering feud, ready to yank the mic away before any pardon petition reached a presidential desk. And that's where the rivalry moves from quiet digs to very public warfare. Flashback to 1998. Diddy is turning 29, and the invitation to his $600,000 birthday bash arrives on VHS, complete with Donald Trump telling viewers they'd be crazy to miss it. Back then, Trump was hip-hop's shorthand for untouchable wealth, name dropped in rhymes the way rappers now flex a private jet. Diddy embodied the party itself. For a while, the two moved through Manhattan like twin emblems of making it, clinking champagne flutes at white-on-white Hampton soiree and trading compliments in glossy magazines. But in June 2015, Trump descended that golden escalator and the music skipped. As campaign rallies replaced red carpet galas, Diddy echoed the broader hip-hop distrust of Trump's politics. The once easy smiles cooled to polite nods, sightings together dwindled to a single awkward wave at Super Bowl 48. By the time federal agents raided Combs' homes in 2024, their gilded bridge had long since rusted away. Yet even as that friendship faded, a very different relationship started to burn hotter, because Queens-born Curtis 50 Cent Jackson saw an opening, and he never lets a rival breathe easy. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson pounced on Trump's half-open door like a marketing shark catching scent of blood. Within minutes of the Fox News clip, his social media feeds lit up. Screenshots of Diddy's old jabs at Trump, memes captioned, "Welp, can't ask him for help then, buddy," and a promise to make sure the president knows everything. For Jackson, who built a fortune turning grudges into clicks, this wasn't just trolling, it was brand amplification. He reminded followers of his long feud with Combs, from ghostwriting spats in 2001 to the icy diss track The Bomb, stitching each throwback into a narrative of, "I told you so." Behind the jokes lies strategy. Jackson has already signed a Netflix docuseries charting Diddy's alleged abuses, pitching it as a story with real human impact. A presidential pardon would kneecap that cliffhanger, so 50 Cent is waging a preemptive PR war, flooding timelines with courtroom updates, reposting raid footage captioned, "Now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done," and nudging political aides to keep clemency off the table. Every post serves double duty. It pressures Trump while teasing viewers for the upcoming series. Yet even Jackson's digital onslaught can't overshadow the bigger question. Can a single signature in Washington override months of sworn testimony in Manhattan? That dilemma drags us straight into the murky politics of presidential mercy. Presidential pardons sound simple. One stroke of a pen, case closed. But in reality, they flow through a maze of procedure and perception. First, any request lands at the Justice Department's Office of the Pardon Attorney, where staffers fact-check, weigh public backlash, and draft a recommendation. Then it's couriered upstairs to the White House counsel, who calculates political fallout like a Vegas oddsmaker. Only after that does the folder reach the Oval Office, ready for signature, or the shredder. Donald Trump has never treated that process as mere paperwork. His clemency record reads like a loyalty ledger. Joe Arpaio, Roger Stone, the Chrysley reality TV duo, each pardon doubled as a televised flex. Granting mercy to Diddy, however, would break the pattern. Combs isn't a MAGA martyr. He's an industry titan accused of trafficking, a charge that makes even seasoned politicians flinch. A pre-trial pardon would be nearly unprecedented and could vaporize years of investigative labor in a single headline. Supporters might hail Trump's bravado, but victims' rights groups would erupt, and swing state voters could see favoritism for the wealthy and well-connected. Yet Trump thrives in spaces where precedent falters. He relishes the shock factor, the "did he really just do that" moment that hijacks every news cycle. To him, controversy isn't kryptonite, it's rocket fuel, so the real calculus may come down to timing. Would a dramatic pardon showcase decisiveness, or saddle his campaign with a scandal it didn't need? Inside that Oval Office folder, the political odds and human stakes collide, and only one man decides which weighs more. And while that decision looms in Washington, a very different swirl of rumours keeps feeding the fire online. Online chatter has exploded with claims that Donald Trump once appeared on the guest list for Combs' legendary white parties, and even the more secretive invite-only freak-offs. One former go-go dancer, Adria Sherry English, alleges she was coerced into intimate acts during a 2004 bash, where she says Trump, Diana Ross and Rev Mal Sharpton were among the A-list faces in the crowd. Reports claim English was shocked when Combs rattled off the names, hinting that political titans and pop culture royalty mingled behind those velvet ropes. Remember, though, these accounts have not been proven in court, and representatives for every party named have either declined comment or flatly denied knowing of any wrongdoing. Other unverified whispers swirl across forums and podcast clips. Secret Service agents allegedly balked at an invite, guests signing NDAs thicker than a platinum plaque, and mountains of baby oil bottles ordered by the case. It's been said that backroom phone bins kept cameras out, fueling speculation about what really happened once the lights dimmed. Again, no subpoenaed evidence has surfaced to confirm these anecdotes, yet they feed a narrative that refuses to die online. For now, they remain rumours, powerful, salacious, and oxygen for the social media firestorm, but rumours nonetheless. Until sworn testimony or solid proof emerges, the stories live in a grey zone where internet echoes can blur into fact overnight. And while speculation keeps trending, the cultural fallout is already measurable, because hip-hop's faith in one of its icons is cracking in real time. Labels and platforms are hedging their bets. Spotify still hosts Diddy's catalogue but has quietly halted featured playlist promotion, while radio programmers report a soft freeze on rotating his classics. Industry panels now debate whether hip-hop can, or even should, separate art from accusation when the charges involve trafficking. Some argue the culture has weathered scandal before, others insist this is the line in the sand. Either way, a career once defined by diamond plaques now hinges on jurors' verdicts and listeners' consciences. After the wave of testimonies, a parade of forensic accountants will trace wire transfers, jet-log flight engineers will match tail numbers to party dates, and the FBI's cyber unit will authenticate the thumb drive video that now dominates headlines. If the jury convicts, sentencing would likely fall in early autumn, giving both sides time to file post-verdict motions. Any talk of a presidential pardon must first travel an entirely different road, a formal petition to the office of the pardon attorney. Staff lawyers there conduct background investigations, solicit prosecutors' views, and prepare a confidential recommendation for the White House, a process that routinely stretches months to several years, even for routine case. Only after that paperwork crosses the Resolute desk does the president decide whether to sign or shelve it. A mid-trial or pre-sentencing pardon, especially for an unconvicted defendant facing trafficking charges, would slice clean across historical precedent and ignite a political firestorm. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.